Welcome to the Doctors In on CNN Philippines. I'm Dr. Freddie Gomez. So the enhanced community quarantine has been extended to May 15. And that being said, the COVID-19 health crisis is creating a range of unique and individual impacts from food access issues, income distributions, and of course, emotional distress. Now, the current pandemic situation can feel overwhelming due to the new information, the adjustments, and long hours spent on digital work platforms, caring for your family and for yourself. Now, the World Health Organization and Center for Disease Control and Prevention emphasize the importance of self care during these uncertain times. So, to talk more about this topic, we have with the program Ms. Toni Miranda. She's an image strategist and an international motivation speaker. Welcome to the show, Toni.
Hello, Dr. Freddie, and to all our viewers. I'm glad to be here. Good afternoon to all.
Great to have you here, Toni. Now, could you briefly define for our viewers what exactly is self-care?
Okay, self-care is basically taking care of yourself. And this will cover everything from your physical to your mental, as well as your emotional. So we need to do this because for us to be able to do our task and even our purpose of inspiring others, we need to take care of ourselves first. And for me, self-care is priority.
Now, Toni, we all know, no, during this time where priorities have shifted, acquiring the basic necessities, like food, a lot of people think about or worry about work, trying to work in a familiar environment. A lot of routines of people have changed during this time. How is self-care significant in a time like this?
At this time, we have to remember that self-care needs to be significant, meaning it's not an option, it needs to be significant. So while we are busy trying to cope with our, maybe we call it the new normal now, that we are confined within a limitation, the self-care should not be limited, meaning we can actually do it with our basics, with our essentials. That's why when we manage our time, Dr. Freddie, we have a different schedule now, right? Everything dramatically changed in our life. However, self-care is not dependent on anything that is outside our house. Self-care is a decision. It's a choice. That's why it needs to be significant, regardless of the situation, whether it's a lockdown situation or whether we are still going to the office or not. Self-care is significant.
Now, Toni, a lot of people may not be even aware that napapabayaan nilang sarili na ng konti. What are some of the telltale signs na you can share with us that pinpoint to someone who maybe has a lack of self-care?
Okay, so the signs that are very obvious. Number one, you are out of your routine already. Remember, before the lockdown, we have our usual routine. Let's talk about basic, Dr. Freddie, our grooming routine. Okay, so when we find ourselves now that we are no longer taking a bath, we are no longer brushing our teeth, we are no longer drinking a lot of water, which is very unusual kasi when we're home, di ba, dapat mas nakakainom tayo ng water. When we are no longer having enough sleep, even if we are just home. What else? When our anxiety is increasing, and when we are not comfortable, even if when we are just home, then those are the signs that this is not me before the lockdown. This is not also the mga mood swings and everything. This was not me before the lockdown. So I better check myself. Maybe I'm missing out something because of the sudden change in my schedule and activities. So those are the simple things among the many checklists that we have, identifying if we are still having self-care or not.
Okay, now, as you all know, Toni, with this program, we cater to the questions of our online viewers. And also, they've sent some questions online, and I'd like you to join me in answering some of them. So, we have a question from Jay Charlemagne via Instagram. At ang tanong ni Jay Charlemagne is, lately I've been feeling restless every morning. How can I sleep when I have anxieties? So I guess dito, Tony, ang tanong niya is how can he get a good night's rest ngayon na anxious siya?
Okay, so what we can do first, all of us actually, it's number one, we need to acknowledge. We need to acknowledge that we are feeling, but that we may be feeling anxious, that we are disappointed with what's happening. What's important is we acknowledge first, okay? Because it's true, it's really happening, di ba, Dr. Freddie? But what you should not do is to stay there, okay? We should not stay there. That's why creating habits with this new normal towards our self-care is very important. Kasi we all know lahat tayo na what we do for the next 21 days, for the next 30 days, and probably 60 days will be our new way of living. So self-care should be part of that habit na 21 days or sabihin na natin more than 21 days. That's why when we acknowledge already, I'm anxious, I'm disappointed, and then we also have to acknowledge what I need to do about it. Diba? What I need to do. How will I address it? And the tips are very simple. Mabilis lang siyang gawin. Importante, ma-acknowledge mo. Because, Dr. Freddie, when we deny it, it's another thing. It's another thing. It will come back and then we deny it. So, the only answer to that question is acknowledge it first and then decide how to address it.
Okay, fair enough. So, we have another question sent via Twitter from Juristita. Ang tanong niya is, do you have any tips on how I can pamper myself even without going to the spa or salon since we are under the enhanced community quarantine? So definitely at least some pampering the self is healthy for one state of mind, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It is. So what we can do first, try to not create a gap between the old normal and now. So what are those? What are those that can connect? We have our favorite music, right? We have our favorite music. We also have our favorite books with us, I suppose. And what's very easy now in our situation is we have internet. So we now make all of them available while you are taking care of yourself. For example, the new normal now is maybe not all of us are doing all the household chores. So now we feel stressed about it, right? So what we do while we are doing the household chores,
Right.
we play our favorite music, and then we now make sure that after that we reward ourselves probably with our favorite book. Those are the simple things that may pamper us for the meantime because we are not able to access the usual things that pamper us probably that we find outside the house. Anything inside, maybe play with your dog or talk with a best friend. Anything simple because we can really have self-care with our basics. And even pampering ourselves, we can do with the basics.
Okay. Okay, very good. Now, before we go to another question, we'd like to say hello to our viewers watching from Hong Kong, Abu Dhabi, Korea, Dubai, Taiwan, South Africa, as well as Bacolod, Lanao del Norte, and Maguindanao. So we hope you're staying safe, and thank you for joining us here at The Doctor is In. So Tony, continuing with another question, ang dami nating questions online. Alex is asking, work from home po kami ngayon, and I feel like time boundaries are lost. Okay, what's the best way to make sure I'm still motivated and have enough time for myself?
Okay, so time management is now the issue because with the new work from home. I mean, I guess it's for everybody because everything changed dramatically. Now, what you can do is to still schedule yourself. I mean, have a schedule. If work from home is 9 to 5, okay, you have to assign a schedule for yourself as well. Don't make the work from home extend after the 5 o'clock or don't make it earlier than the 9 o'clock. So we assign, let's say if you want to wake up 6 o'clock, what do you want to do? Do you want to exercise first? Do you want to take a bath first? Or do you want to take a lot of water? You need to also assign a schedule that this is my work from home schedule. This is my taking care of myself schedule. and this is my taking care of others' schedule, because we also want to have chit chats with others, and somehow it will bring you to our usual normal state that life goes on, right? Life goes on without really feeling the stress that everything is now changed or has now changed. So you be the one to have the mindset. Tayo mag-iisip na, okay pa naman, okay, kailangan ko lang mag-schedule. And then i-check mo yung schedule na ginawa natin, Dr. Freddie, kung balance siya. Kasi dapat balance eh. Pag work from home, may time lang siya. Then we have to do our home talaga na work, which is household chores. Then we also have to work for our self-development, which is also important, diba? So those are the things that we can do para mawala yung natin sa stress na wala na akong magawa sa bahay. I'm helpless. So those are the things that we need to entertain rather than feeling down and feeling helpless.
We have to pause for a quick break, but when we return, Toni and I will answer more of your questions. Plus, we dig deeper into the new normal and what that really means and how it affects us in the long run. So keep sending your questions on our Facebook page, and Dr. Zain will be right back. And we are back. I'm Dr. Freddie Gomez, and you're watching The Doctor is In on CNN Philippines. So we're still here with Ms. Toni Miranda, an image strategist and international motivational speaker. Before we went on the break, I know we talked about the signs that may point to self-neglect or lack of self-care. Now let's talk about what we should do to reinforce that self-care. But before that, pag-usapan muna natin how a lot of things now are going to be different when all of this is over, and there will be a time when all of this will be over. Ang tanong ko, Tony, is expecting the new normal to happen after all of this. Should people prepare for that, or is that something that people will just naturally adapt to?
Okay. The new normal, we have been hearing about it. So do we prepare for it? Maybe what we can do is to make the most out of now and not worry of the future. Diba? So now, what can we do? Now is the time to actually do things to develop ourselves. Those are the things that we cannot do while we are busy before. Remember, Dr. Freddie, marami tayong narinig sa mga viewers natin. Wala akong time for myself, wala akong time mag-attend ng mga seminars na makakapag-improve ng soft skills ko. Because there is one thing that is very important about self-care that is constant, whether we are in a lockdown or sabihin na natin nasa new normal. Ano yung one thing na yon? It's our soft skills actually. Our connectivity, our connection to people. So we can do something about it now while we are in lockdown to help, number one, we assess ourselves. Diba? We will know where we are now, and then we have to also acknowledge what we need to improve. Example, simple things. Do we need to improve on our communication skills? Do we need to improve on the simple facial expression? Kasi ngayon, mas madalas na tayo sa video, right? Do we need to improve on our family relationships? Do we need to improve on the simple things about us na we don't get to see or probably observe because we were busy? So now, whatever we are facing in the future, you are that confident. You are confident that I did something during the lockdown that I can actually talk about or probably help others be inspired with. So, lagi natin sinasabi, be productive. Then maybe let's just say, let's develop our self-confidence. And we can do that in small steps, small things, by just knowing that we now are trying to improve ourselves. We now try to do things that will help us face whatever is coming with this new normal. And then somehow, study shows it actually lessens our anxiety. When we focus with our self-development, we somehow always feel that we are prepared. Whatever will happen, we just know that we are ready. Rather than watch the TV all day, meaning things that will eat up your 8 hours or 9 hours, and knowing that it's already the 1 month or it's already 1.5 months and you're not able to do something for ourselves.
Okay, now let's focus on how people can reinforce that self-care while they're at home, while they're also observing the quarantine and social distancing. So, Toni, what are some of your tips on how to reinforce self-care while at home?
Okay, so the following are the tips that I actually am giving now to my coaching lessons. Okay, number one, we set a schedule. Then we just identify what are the basics about self-care. So first, health. Need to be healthy because at this time, especially at this time, we need to boost our immune system. So how do we have a healthy body? We go with the basic. We sleep, right? We sleep at least 8 hours. We drink a lot of water and we make sure we move around. Okay. Then we put a schedule to it. Meaning, since that now becomes a system or a habit, we make sure that we are able to monitor if we are doing the habit or not. So now we set, like me, I'm a 9 to 4 sleeper, meaning I sleep at 9, I wake up at 4 a.m. So it's now set. So if somebody will invite, let's say, for a Zoom call or for a chit chat more after 9, then I have to say no. What else? You also check the food that we eat because now we have all the opportunity to cook our own food, right? So we can choose healthy, we can choose to eat healthy. So when we are now conscious that with the basics that we have, I just need to buy this stuff or maybe the vegetable, then we have no more excuse to eat the junk food because we are now conscious that I need to be well because I'm excited to face the new normal. What are the other things? Grooming. We all know that when the cliche, Dr. Freddie, look good, feel good, do good, actually it's true. So when we feel that we look lousy, when we feel that we're no longer, well, presentable, at least presentable, it somehow gives us a feeling that we're not worthy or our self-worth decreases. While if we are taking care of ourselves, even if we will just do laundry or cooking, but we know that we are presentable, it gives us a boost in our confidence. And now that confidence leads you to do something else that's also good. Okay? It's really a ripple effect. What else can we do? We can journal, right? Because when we journal, anything that is within the things that you like to do, either you want to journal, you want to listen to podcasts, or maybe you want to also teach, you give back by giving free webinars, then just do so as long as it will put you to a good feeling that to make a difference and you somehow inspire another person.
Okay, very, very good. Now it's time to check some of your social media posts. We have one from Mikey Hayes, who also shares some self-care tips. Ang sabi niya, makakatulong daw kung magkakaroon tayo ng daily routine which includes some regular exercise, online study, communication with friends and family, at sabi pa niya, as much as possible, is to have healthy meal options. This is very similar to what advice you just gave, Miss Toni.
Yeah. Yes, yes, that's true. There's one thing also that I want to advise. There are a lot of groups now in Facebook. So you find your interest. If you wanted to hone more on your trying to have a healthy food lifestyle or healthy lifestyle, maybe we can find FB group that supports that kind of lifestyle. If you want to develop, let's say, public speaking, maybe we can find a group or an online. It's really accessible now, and actually, um, what's happening to us now is a chance. Really, it's a chance to reboot ourselves, to somehow recalibrate or reassess what we need to improve on, because we have the luxury of time now and everything is accessible. We just have to, of course, accept that we can do this with the things around us. We don't need to really go out, because the moment we try to aspire, um, getting something outside home, then we go back to the state of, again, we're frustrated and we're, anxious. So we find a niche, we find a group, and like what our comment in the Facebook, the simple things, healthy food, right? And of course, we also have to
Mhm.
communicate. That's our nature, Dr. Freddie. We want to catch up. We want to catch up. So we build each other up. We encourage each other. And then, of course, watch TV so that we are also updated.
Okay, now here we have an interesting question from John Clyde Alcantara. He's asking, now that we are spending most of our time at home and with our family, how can we devote time to ourselves?
Okay, like my answer earlier, we really assign a schedule. We need to be intentional to assign a schedule for ourselves. Like all our family members are also doing the same. They are probably also confused. When do I have time for myself when everyone is bugging each other, right? So what we can do is to set a time, okay? Like me, the reason why I wake up earlier is because that's the time that it's quiet. For 4 to 7 a.m., everyone was still sleeping. So it's really an intentional planning. We have to plan when is the time for yourself, when is the time for work from home, when is the time to catch up with family, and when is the time to actually do household chores. So when you are intentional with it, what you need to do, okay, Dr. Freddie, we have to write it down. It needs to be visualized. It needs to be something not in the head. You have to write it down so you remember it. It reminds you, it's already 10 o'clock and I'm still here chit chatting. Or I have to do something for what? For my self care. So you are now actually promoting that. You are also taking care of yourself. And when you announce that to another family member, who knows, they might also do the same. So it's a matter of just managing your schedule and being intentional. And you need to promote it. You need to inform them, this is the time for myself. We have different terms for that: me time, self-care time, or private time. But what's important is they know it's already your me time.
Okay. And we have another question here from Eleanor. Ang tanong niya, I feel like I'm on semi-retirement mode during the ECQ. How can I bounce back to my old self?
Okay, so again, do not create a big gap. Okay, try to find what is common between the ECQ now and before. Like I mentioned earlier, do we listen to a certain podcast during the time, during before and now? Okay, so you still listen to the same podcast. Do you, let's say, do you journal before? Anything that is common before and now, just continue doing it. And then always find the existing situation as an opportunity. It is a mindset, really. This is an opportunity. So what else can I do? Maybe I can learn how to plant. Okay. Maybe I learn how to do calligraphy. So rather than thinking that this is now something that, or this is something that I'm not ready, convert it immediately. Wow, I have time now. So what can I do? And then we schedule it so that you will not be overwhelmed. Because one thing that you don't want to happen also is you are now doing a lot of things because you are trying so many things. Just write it down and just do whatever you can during the time of the lockdown to improve yourself, to improve yourself.
Okay. And we have another question is who is the best person to talk to if a person feels anxious about this whole situation that we
Okay,
have?
we have the specialist and we also have like the first in line. Okay, first in line is of course to talk about it with your family member because they are the first in line. Okay, but when you feel that after expressing it to them, after talking about it with them, it's still not okay, you still not feel okay, then we can now approach others, like we have counselors, we have mental health specialists or doctors. But before you even go there and be frustrated, oh no, I need to schedule, where can I find one? Try first to speak with your family members. And nothing beats having a good conversation, right, with your family members. And maybe they can also tell you, actually I'm feeling the same. So maybe then I'm sure they will suggest good stuff, like maybe we can pray about it, maybe we can just divert our attention to different things. And then, but if you feel okay, if you feel that after that it's still enough, then we can search online if there are others who are offering counseling online. And there are a lot who is offering this for free, sometimes for a payment, but definitely you will find someone online.
And before we go, Miss Toni, do you have a message for our viewers?
Okay, so here's my message. This is the best time for you to develop your confidence, because I believe when you are confident, you are able to face all kinds of challenges, and you will see things happening now in a different perspective. So how to do that? There are different avenues, or there are different ways that you can find online to develop your confidence. You can even like improve yourself, things that you don't know before. You add on a skill, any skill, and then make sure you only entertain positive thoughts, because it's very important that every day we carry positive thoughts. And next is, let's be grateful every day. So in all circumstances, in all situations, let's try to find at least one, two, or three things that we are thankful for every day. Like for example, Dr. Freddie, I'm thankful that we're still able to sleep. If it's not yet 8 hours, 6 hours is good. Then tomorrow you thank something for something else again. I'm thankful that I'm able to buy food. So now when you magnify you're being grateful or you're being thankful, somehow the mini things that causes our anxiety, probably worry and fear, eventually will be gone, right? It will be replaced by your being grateful and the positive thoughts. And of course, don't forget our very own topic. Make sure you take care of yourself, because that's very important. Very, very important.
Very good advice, Miss Toni. At maraming salamat, Miss Toni Miranda, for joining us today and sharing your expertise on the topic of self-care.
Thank you so much too, and I'm glad really to be here. Thank you.
And thank you also to everyone watching. And we hope that you learned some tips on how to take care of yourself during this pandemic. I'll see you again tomorrow at 3:30 p.m. I'm Dr. Freddie Gomez. Ingat po tayong lahat.